Gemini, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages in those readings which will sort of give you a full picture of what's going on. Okay, let's get started for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and see what's the energy around the week ahead for Gemini. What's the energy around the week ahead for Gemini? I love seeing that Milk and Honey card come through. There's the Higher Power card, Fork in the Road, and Loyal Heart. Okay, interesting. We've got Thinker on the bottom of the deck. So, very interesting. We're seeing here what feels to me like sort of not realizing that there's divine intervention at play here to get you to a place where you're actually pursuing something you feel very devoted to, that right now you might be overthinking but not acting. You might not be doing anything. You're just sort of in contemplation mode. And I actually feel like there is some reorganization, restructuring, realignments happening to sort of get you to a place where you might have to actually make a choice towards something that right now you're just thinking about. You know, you're almost in contemplation instead of action. And I feel like you're being guided into action because right now the level of indecision that is happening as you're thinking about things is kind of creating this avoidance to choose something. You know what I mean, Gemini? Like, it's almost like you're at a place where you're, by not making a choice, you're making a choice. Does that make sense? Like by hesitating and feeling that indecision, you are making a choice. You're making a choice to not make a choice. And it's interesting because when I see that Higher Power card there, and it's also in reverse, that tells me that you might not realize that there is sort of a divine intervention at play here, and that now is not the time to sort of be obsessing about what's right or what's wrong, but to be going with what feels right in your heart. And I think that's why we're also seeing this Loyal Heart here, because it's almost like right now it's time to take heart and to trust that your higher power never deserts you and is always waiting for you to sort of remember that co-create, that sort of partnership, that divine collaboration that we all have with Source, and you're being guided to pursue it. And I think you're going to be very happy when you do. And I mean, that sounds very simple, but this Milk and Honey card is this beautiful energy of sort of abundance, prosperity, bliss, joy, love, and happiness, all mixed into this one beautiful card that says, oh my God, I can't believe my dreams have actually come true. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something you could be saying in the next little while if you are able to sort of remember that you're sort of here to choose something for yourself that would bring this feeling, and that overthinking it is actually creating all of this indecision energy and hesitation. And so it's really interesting. I think that you're a few decisions away from starting a path that could really lead to this beautiful and abundant source of happiness. Like, it just feels like not a care in the world here. It feels like you've just, reached a place of emotional fulfillment that is right now feels like a dream, to you. But I feel like you're very close to it, Gemini, and it's just that you've got to sort of stop. You've got to stop thinking and start doing. You've got to take a decision here. You got to take a choice that leads to leads to this. And I feel like you might not know what that choice is. Looking at the bottom of the deck, I see the Seven of Pentacles, so you're not really sure. You might be sort of, you're thinking, you're still thinking, you're contemplating where to invest your time, energy, resources, where to invest yourself, right? You're not sure, but I think the biggest clue you have here is this loyal heart card. What do you feel the most loyal to? Where do you feel the most devoted and the most sort of like where you're listening to your heart? That's the biggest clue we have here. And that you're already thinking about it, right? You're already in thinking, but you're overthinking. You're almost so much so in the thought pattern that you're hesitating and you've got all this indecision about what to do. There's Temperance. Yeah, you need to be sort of going with the flow of your heart here. God, all that shuffling and only Temperance came out. Isn't that interesting? That really makes me feel like, and the Seven of Pentacles is still on the bottom of the deck. So right now you are too distracted to listen to your heart. You're too distracted mentally with, I think, obstacles. Like you're thinking about obstacles. You're not being patient. You're not trusting the divine timing at work here. I think you're trying to force yourself into a position instead of just letting things fall into place. And you're sort of being guided to slip into a place where you trust your heart and you trust the sort of intuitive vibes you're getting right now about what to do and where to head down this fork in the road. And I think you just need to be more patient with yourself because there is something divinely timed coming in to change things in your path. There is a reorganization happening here. There's a realignment, a reorganization to try to get you down the path that's going to lead to this really beautiful outcome. And I think all you have to do is stop overthinking. You know, that's step one. Because I think that you might be overthinking. You might also be feeling like you know, I feel like maybe you've tried to talk to people about this and you're not getting anywhere with that. If anything, people could be reinforcing the things you're thinking about. They could be reinforcing the obstacles. They could be reinforcing limits. They could just be reinforcing things from their perspective, but that aren't actually relevant in your path. This is about you choosing what's in your heart. No one else is going to know that but you, Gemini. Oh, the cards even feel like they're full of indecision. Look at that. You got the Eight of Swords. So you're fearing outcomes. I think you have a very good idea, if this is resonating for you, that there is a new beginning here and that you could go for it. But there's a part of you that when you think about it, you're not able to look at it from a high perspective. You're looking at it from a place of fear. You're standing too close to see that this is actually, yes, there will be challenges, but that you can overcome them. I just want to show you here, you've got the Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck. You've got the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Cups. Eights are all about transformation and renewal and trusting our instincts and not overthinking, not overthinking, like overthinking to lead to hesitation and sort of, it's like you're fearing outcomes as you overthink. You're jumping to the end and you're robbing yourself of the whole experience of actually choosing something that you feel really dedicated to. I think it's time to leave some of these hesitations in the past and just move away from them. That new beginning is there. We see it with the Ace of Pentacles. I think with the Hermit card, you've just been, you know, your perspective isn't as expansive as it needs to be. I think you're looking at it from a very narrow perspective and you're hiding a little bit. You're not going for it. There's the King of Rods coming through for you, guiding you to sort of tap into that energy, to go for it, to be a leader, to take your wand in your hand and go for it. Be the leader of whatever vision you have. Be the visionary. And you're also getting the King of Cups here. So you're also being guided to tune into how you feel and to see where you feel dedicated and loyal. And that's that loyal heart energy. Where do you feel devoted and feel this capacity to open your cup, to open up your heart, to open up? Because I feel like you're closed off. Like now that I look at that Three of Cups in reverse, maybe you're not talking to this about with anybody. You might be holding all of this away from others. You might just be sort of overthinking this all on your own. And the cards falling on the bottom, on the floor here, are the Tower and the Six of Cups. So it's interesting. Whatever is coming through right now for you is going to be very transformative. There's the Death card on the bottom of the deck. Gemini, you are going through a massive change here, and I think it's actually healing your inner child. If you can allow this shift to happen, and if you can really pursue what you feel really devoted to, even down to that inner child saying, please, let's do this. I've always wanted to do this. Don't overthink it. Let's just do it. Let's just go for it. It's like your inner child is sort of asking for you to let down the logic, let down the thinking, the overthinking, and put away the indecision and hesitation and just go for something that you, I think, feel really connected to on a very deep level. And you have for some time. Like, this is something that I think you really want to choose, but you're talking yourself out of it somehow. I think it's the outcomes you fear. Let's clarify some of these cards. Whoops, there's the Sun. So I think everything is pointing towards that milk and honey, but you've got to leave those emotional limits in the past. You can't move forward with all that baggage, Gemini. That's what's holding you back, is this idea of baggage and this idea of financial focus. I almost feel like for some of you, this involves a career change or a move that you think is financially risky. And so that's part of the hesitation, is that it's a risk. And that Eight of Cups tells me that you're not comfortable taking risks. You don't want to leave the comfort zone. You would rather stay in a place where you feel tied and chained to this path where you're always looking over your shoulder, and that you feel like you're sort of getting sucked into this emotional drama that sometimes I don't think even feels like it's yours. Like, it's interesting. I feel like I'm reading for a Gemini right now that is bound and chained to their way of thinking, as well as this idea that it almost feels like a family issue. Like, it almost feels like there's been like, ever since you were a child, you've been told by your family that in order to be successful, you do the following, and anything other than that is not advised. It's silly, and it's daydreaming, and it's foolish. And so I think you're working through those downloads right now, and you're seeing that, but you know, you really want to pursue something that feels like it's connected to who you are, but it goes away and it goes outside of that download that says, no, to be successful, you do the following. And anything else is just indulging in foolishness. I almost feel like I can hear someone giving you that lecture, sitting in their chair and saying, only a fool would give up this for that. Only a fool would take that kind of chance. And it's interesting. I almost feel like that's exactly what you're being called to do, is to take that chance. There's the Tower again. This is going to be very much a revelation. This is like a realization that changes everything. And I feel like it suddenly shows you the truth about the way you've been living, and that you see that you can actually do something here to change this dynamic. I feel like this is leading to a brand new start for you, where you see just how much your mindset can shift everything. And I think that you're going to see that this was all in your head for a long time. Yep, you're definitely rejecting something when it comes to traditions. You're rejecting something when it comes to traditions, but at the same time right now, you're also not trusting your own inner voice. So right now you're at a place where I think you're trying to figure out what to do about something, and you're seeing that the two, sort of these two pillars of wisdom, you're not listening to. One is a traditional sense of, I think, what you received from your family as guidance and that download. You're sort of rejecting that. And then you're also not trusting your own intuitive self, which is interesting. So you're sort of at this place where no wonder you're at a point of indecision, because you're not trusting yourself or the guidance you've been given through your family or your environment. You know what I mean? So you're sort of stuck in a place where you're not sure what to do, and you're not sure what to rely on as a basis for making a decision. Now, it's interesting because on the bottom of the deck, we see the Two of Cups, which tells me that you need to have a heart-to-heart with yourself. You need to have a heart-to-heart. You need to look at yourself in the eye in the mirror and just be like, what do we really want to do? What is our heart saying to us? Where is the guidance that we trust? And it should be your own sense of your own inner compass, you know? And I think by going through this, not only are you going to achieve something amazing by trusting your heart, but you're going to have learned a lesson that's very valuable that says, when I trust my heart, amazing things happen. When I trust myself, amazing things happen. And I think that's what's happening here for you. And it feels like it's really transformative. It's a huge transition away from doing things because that's the way they've always been done, and moving towards this idea of, I do things because I feel they're right, not because someone told me they're right, or not because that's the way it's always been done. I'm trusting my higher self, and I feel like that's exactly what is the guidance here, is to trust your higher self, to trust yourself, to trust that you are being divinely directed right now down a certain path, and that the biggest clue is that it's something you're very devoted and loyal to, but it might go against the traditions of your upbringing or childhood. I'm seeing that theme come in really, really clearly. Now, your final card here is that there's always enough. Koi fish spirit. So this is beautiful. The fish always make me feel like you don't have to worry about money, that there will be abundance. There will be resources. Don't let that be the reason you say no to something, because I think that you're getting that idea that there is always enough. You're also getting this idea of the seahorse coming through here, another aquatic feature. So again, I'm feeling like this is an emotional time to make this sort of decision. Has to be in touch with you have to be in touch with your emotions to do this. Watch and wait, I think, is an interesting one to see what will change around you and how will you feel about it. That should be part of what guides you in this idea of being hesitant, that if you don't make a choice, that in itself is a choice. And this watch and wait energy makes me feel like just see what happens once you start taking a couple of steps down that path. Be very, very mindful of everything that will unfold as you start moving down a path, and how does it make you feel? Because I think that's going to be really important. The other guidance you're getting is lovely here. It's a parrot, and it says, watch your words. And so I feel like you're being guided to really be mindful about your decision making and your communication and your what shifts because of certain actions that you take. So really interesting reading for you this week, Gemini. I feel like there is a big change on the horizon for you, but you have to choose it. And in order to get there, thinking and thinking and thinking isn't going to be the way you realize this. This is almost going to all unfold once you start to trust yourself and to tap into your inner self, right? Like your higher self, that connection to source that's always trying to guide us to the most ideal and aligned path for us. And I feel like it's very transformative for you, and it's going to lead to a lot of prosperity, but it's going to involve sort of moving away from a certain way of making decisions, that you're almost going to have to make a decision in a way that you trust your heart, that you trust that inner compass. What an interesting reading. I'm going to leave it at that for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me, Gemini. I hope this reading has been helpful. If it's resonated for you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, I am running a special right now for the month of December, where all recorded readings are $44. So if you would like to set one of those up, please send me an email and we can schedule that for you in December. Okay, my friends, I look forward to reading for you again soon, and I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.